Thanks for joining us here tonight for a Tuesday edition of Weather Unfiltered. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson, of course, here with the former director of the National Hurricane Center, our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knapp.
And this is that increasingly dangerous time of year where the systems can become hurricanes and major hurricanes. And this one's coming farther west than the previous systems that we've dealt with this year. Far enough west, enough of a threat to land that the hurricane hunters are tasked to start flying it 2 nights from now.
All right, we're going to talk some details about what the hurricane hunters do, when they may go, what they may see when they get there. So it's insider information from Dr. Knapp you do not want to miss. But from Barbuda to the U.S. Virgin Islands to Puerto Rico.
I feel like some people look at that and they're a little jealous that they get to just like work out their aggression by throwing things out of planes.
Why not? And it's all for a good cause.
It's for a good cause.
Now, those instrument packages are the ones that go into the ocean and they measure ocean temperatures and stuff. But the dropsondes that we know of and that go through the atmosphere are launched through a tube in a much more controlled fashion.
That makes sense.
I want to be the uncontrolled person, though.
That also makes sense. Right. Let's talk a little bit more about what the function of all the different hurricane hunter planes are, because there are 3 different ones.
Yeah, so we got NOAA planes and we have Air Force planes. NOAA has a base in Lakeland where they have a couple of these P-3 aircraft. These are the ones that fly low-level invest missions or fly into the storm at 5,000 or 10,000 feet. Then the Air Force has 10 of these WC-130J Hercules aircraft that are outfitted to fly into hurricanes, operationally tasked. You know, these are the workhorses, and they go into the storm as well. And then NOAA has the jet that goes around the hurricanes.
So we're able to get all sorts of data, whether it's the low levels, like you said, right through the storm, but the surrounding environment is also really important to test.
Absolutely, and the jet is flown when you've got a direct hurricane threat to land, and that may or may not materialize. Okay. But we are already getting tasking from the Hurricane Center to send the Air Force into Erin in a couple of days, and NOAA is going to do research missions, and then the Hurricane Center will get that data in real time.
The Erin is a bit a ways away, but you know we're kind of wondering. We just talked about the forecast spread this will be. Why aren't we sending the planes now?
Because the storm is just a little too far east. Now, Lakeland and Biloxi, where the main bases for NOAA and Air Force are way too far away from Erin, so they're forward deploying into the Caribbean. Air Force has a base in St. Croix, NOAA has a base on Barbados, and they need to get within about 1,000 miles of the storm to be able to fly into them, to be able to fly out there. Like the Air Force plane has a range of over 3,000 miles, but that's at cruising, ferrying speed. So from St. Croix, they need the storm to be within about 1,000 miles so that they can spend the 6 to 7 hours round trip to fly to Erin and back. That's 2,000 miles. They can only fly for about 10 hours. So they need enough fuel to fly for a couple hours in the storm and have some reserves. So they're not
worth it to fly?
Yeah, when it's really far east and the uncertainty is so high. But this is enough of a land threat that given Thursday and given the confidence in the forecast, the models are bringing it really close to the islands. They want to fly this. So it has to get to about 50 west longitude. That's about 1,000 miles away from the islands. Look at the Thursday PM forecast right there. So the hurricane hunters and the Hurricane Center are looking at the forecast timing and say, okay, Thursday is about the time when the storm will be close enough. So the Hurricane Center has tasked the Air Force to go. NOAA's going to do research flights, and both data sets will get.
There's been a lot of talk of the number 12 today, but you have 12 storms that have some similarities of Erin. You're going to highlight the 6 most notable of these.
Yeah, because when we see the Hurricane Center's forecast of Erin being potentially a major hurricane late this weekend just north of the islands, maybe a major that is in that same area during August. If we look at history, that could give us a little bit of a gauge for how much of a risk to the continental U.S. is it when a major hurricane is just north of the Leeward Islands. And when you look at the 12 tracks on here, most of them go west of Bermuda. So this is at least going to be a high surf issue for the east coast of the U.S. in all likelihood. But look at how many of them actually make landfall or make a really close call to the continental U.S. And I wanted to kind of start farthest south with Andrew, because this is one of those.
Now, it looks like weak sauce. Like it looks worse today than it did yesterday. So the looks can be deceiving, and Andrew's proof of that.
Oh, absolutely. And there are other Florida hurricanes that went through this zone as major hurricanes this time of year. And go to 2004. with Francis, because that was one. It was
Real recent storms as well. I mean, we look at Dorian from 2019, didn't make landfall in the U.S., but obviously what it did to the Bahamas, whole different ballgame.
Place that this Aaron scenario worries me, just because it sticks out farther, and there's so many past tracks that have gone north in this zone. Now let's go just a little farther north and talk about Earl in 2010, because that was because of the high surf. So this is a good reminder that Aaron doesn't have to make landfall after going through the zone at will over the next 5 days. If it goes between Bermuda and the East Coast, we're going to have some life-threatening high surf, and 3 of those deaths were kids.
Yeah, and it's not October. It is August. It is still very much beach season.
Absolutely. One other one I wanted to highlight, we've got some video from, is Bill in 2009. That was even farther offshore, out of landfall, and a landfall is still possible.
Is it one of those scenarios, though, that instead of the hurricane coming to us, we kind of go to the hurricane when we willfully get into the water?
Yeah. In fact, we go to the coastline, and the hurricane sends dangerous waves and rip currents to that coast, and the dangers meet, even though we are far away from the center. But I do want to urge everybody to realize that even though the current ensembles from the Euros suggest the greatest chance is that the center never makes landfall on the east coast of the U.S., it's still well within the realm of possibility, so don't tune out on this.
All right, Dr. Knabb, thank you. We got more Weather Unfiltered coming up right after this.
You're on Weather Unfiltered. So glad you could stay with us, everyone. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson, of course, here with our hurricane expert, former director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Rick Knabb. You're going to be breaking down everything you're looking at with this storm and also all the tools at our disposal to help forecast it.
Yeah, because the hurricane hunters are planning to fly into this for the first time 2 nights from right now. And we're going to have our first hurricane of the Atlantic season, probably our first major hurricane. And I can already say there is going to be a threat to the East Coast, even if there's not a landfall, and we'll talk about why. But it is way too early to say for sure, yes or no, this will or will not hit the East Coast of the U.S. It's still within the realm of possibility, and we'll break down what all the uncertainties still are.
We've seen storms where we thought we had a very good understanding of where they're going, and then they said, nah, not so fast.
Yeah, in fact, I can pick out just about every past hurricane and tell you what the forecast curveball ended up being, what that hurricane did that we didn't think it would do. So let's not trust Aaron to behave itself.
That's his party trick. We take him out, and he goes, oh, no, that hurricane actually did this. So you just get Dr. Knabb at a Mexican restaurant, a margarita, and we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll see what Aaron's is.
There better be some queso and fajitas, too. If you want.
You're not drinking a hurricane?
Yeah.
You're drinking margarita?
I'm a foodie, man. Okay. If I don't have my food.
He's drinking queso is what he's doing.
She's doing the drinking, he's doing the eating. That's what it comes down to, right? All right, so stick around for what Dr. Knabb has to say here in just a sec. But from Barbuda to the Virgin Islands to Puerto Rico. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Weather Unfiltered. We're following flash flooding right now happening in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, we've had water rescues on Interstate 24, so you can see the interstate has been inundated in spots. Traffic is not moving in either direction.
Now, traffic is kind of tough through Chattanooga with 75 and 24 on a good day. Plus, you add the hills, especially west of Chattanooga, it gets downright mountainous. You add water problems. Those low spots are going to fill up quickly.
For sure. Hamilton County under a flash flood warning till 10:45 tonight, so this could go on for several more hours. Again, parts of the interstate are shut down.
Yeah, and this was an area highlighted by the Weather Prediction Center. We forecasted this last night, showing the areas that they were most concerned about for flash flooding.